It's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the January 23rd Oak Park Board of Education meeting to order. Ms. Greer, would you please call the roll?
Corcoran.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Evan.
Here.
Hoda.
Here.
Lunkins. Madison. And Smith.
Here. Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum. I just want to note that trustees Lunkins and Madison did let us know of their absence. As such, they'll be excused. And we'll go to recitation of the district mission and vision. Trustee Hoyer, do you have that available?
I do.
Would you mind reading?
Our mission is that our inclusive learning community provides the best academic and social experiences by educating the whole child one child at a time. And our vision is cultivating visionary leaders and compassionate citizens to be engaged in the global community.
Thank you. The agenda was shared with us. We're at approval of agenda and order of business. The agenda was shared with us prior to today. Everyone's had a chance to take a look at the agenda. Without objection, we'll pass a motion to approve the agenda by unanimous consent. Any objection to doing so? Hearing none, the agenda is hereby approved. We will go into our consent agenda. We have two items on that consent agenda, which are the minutes from January 9th, I believe it is, and the approval of personnel actions. Any question on either of those two? If not, without objection, we'll pass a motion to approve the consent agenda by unanimous consent. Don't see anything. The consent agenda is hereby approved. We will go to our presentations, item number 5, and we are at Students of the Month.
Thank you, President Alvin. So I'd like to welcome everyone here. Thank you so much for your patience and willingness to join and sit with one another. What we'll do is we'll start with Lessinger. What we'll do is we'll ask the director or the principal to come up with the student, and then we do ask that the student and the director or the principal come up here so we take some pictures, after which then we'll dismiss all the students. So you'll have an opportunity after everyone's recognized that we do take a break and dismiss and take some pictures if you want out here, and then we'll continue with our business. With that being said, Ms. North.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm first. I have to kick us off. I'm going to start by saying I am Principal Director Brandy North, and I'm very excited to say this first, as we always say our addresses. And I didn't have a way to say mine, but I practiced, so I'm ready. So we are Lessinger, located at 12901 Albany, and we are very proud of all of our babies. So today I am here to present two of our fabulous Lessinger Rebels with their awards. The first student is Kaylee Carter. Her teacher was not able to be here tonight, but she wrote a wonderful synopsis of all the beautiful things that Kaylee does. Kaylee was nominated for Student of the Week at Lessinger for many reasons. She is a child that consistently shows kindness to her fellow classmates. She is always the first to lend a hand if someone needs help, from putting a puzzle together to zipping up their jackets. Kaylee has an exquisite and energetic mind. She's always excited to learn, from finding new ways to build towers with the Magna Tiles to exploring letters. She's always looking for ways to challenge herself, and she's a wonderful role model example for her fellow classmates and fellow rebels. We're going to give our first award to Miss Kaylee Carter. Oh, come up here. Come on, Kaylee. You're famous, girl. We getting her.
Good job.
Okay, so we have one more. Stay right here. Okay. So his teacher is here. The next one is for Miss Myers, going to come up and present our next award.
Sorry, traffic is horrible. Hello, my name is Angela Meyer, or Miss Meyer as my friends call me. I have the pleasure tonight to acknowledge the amazing things one of my students has done within my class. Each student has amazing things that they add to my classroom, but Jackson Murphy has added so much more to our class, it's hard to count all the things he has added. First, I am beyond excited to tell everyone how much growth he has made in only the last 3 months. He has gained letters, numbers, and is now beginning to read words in our class. Second, Jackson is always a friend within our class we can count on to always help. Jackson is eager to help get milk, bring materials to our table, and clean up within our room. He also is always willing to help his peers when they are struggling. For example, one day in our class, a friend was struggling to get their zipper zipped. Jackson walked over and said, "Can I help?" Together, the friends were able to get the jacket zipped. Or when a friend was upset, Jackson walked over and said to them, "It's okay. Let me give you a hug. Come on, let's go see Miss Meyer." Finally, Jackson is welcoming and a friendly face within our classroom, always eager to play and make new friends. Within our classroom, Jackson is a key member and a proud Lessinger Rebel, showing all the amazing qualities we expect of our amazing rebels here at Lessinger. Thank you, Jackson, for all you do and how much you mean to our
Good job, good job.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Provenzola West. I am the perpetually proud principal of Einstein Elementary School. And if you ever need to find us, we are at 14001 North End Avenue, where we rise by lifting others so that we can all shine at Einstein. I told her I was going to practice. I hope it was okay. We have 2 students of the month, but I don't believe one is here with us today. But let me just check and make sure. Jordan Morris? Okay, so I'm going to start with the one that is here, and we have our 2nd grade teacher here to talk about his nominated student for Student of the Month for this month, and that is Mr. Dallas Durham. So come on up, Dallas. And Mr. Gatewood. Is going to talk about Dallas.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Anthony Gatewood. I teach at Einstein Elementary, 2nd grade. I had the pleasure to have with me Dallas Durham. He is a fantastic young citizen right here. He's always eager to do his best. He's always helpful in our class. He comes with a great smile on his face every day. When we do our morning circles, he's always has something positive to say to each and every one of us. He gives an example where I remember doing sharing, because the best thing we bridge together as far as being building community in our classroom. We talk about our likes, our dislikes, and whatnot. And Dallas, he caught on so well because he listened to each and every one of them, and he always had a comment for each person that had something to say, a positive comment, and that's why I enjoy to have him in my class. He's also a scholar in all the subjects. He helps the class out where it needs to. He's always giving a helping hand. There's so many things I can say to you right now, but I enjoy to have this young man, and I expect great things out of him. Thank you.
Good job, man. Congratulations.
Flip that. There you go.
student of the month who is not here today, but they were nominated by another second grade teacher, Dr. Valerie Hill. And like I said, that student's name is Jordan Morris. And Dr. Hill writes, Jordan is a phenomenal second grade student. Jordan loves to tell jokes and help others. She's an honor roll student who loves learning. She has demonstrated leadership skills in several areas in the classroom. She gets along well with others and enjoys working with her classmates. And Dr. Hill says that she is so proud and honored to have Jordan in her class. So.
Well, good evening to the Board of Education and to our illustrious cabinet members and to all the families who came out to celebrate our young people on tonight. I am, where's she at? She said the perpetually proud principal. I don't know. I got some for a little later. Don't worry about it. Okay, I am Shana Murphy, the proud principal of Key Elementary in the Oak Park School District, located at 23400 Jerome Street, where we have Key Falcon Pride every day of our lives. And so on tonight, we want to recognize two of our Key Falcons who are doing great things at Key Elementary. And first, we would like to call up our youngest baby, Adadara Shola Adinaga, say it correctly, and her teacher, Mrs. Henderson, who's going to come and present her award on tonight.
Good evening. I am Teresa Lori Henderson, proud kindergarten teacher at Key Elementary at 23400 Jerome Street. And I want to introduce to you all, I call her Dara. Dara, come up. Dara is always eager to learn and has excellent participation in class. She is very responsible and consistently puts forth her best effort to succeed academically. She is very positive and considerate of others, and she has perfect attendance. And she is a model student and a great role model for all her classmates. And so I present to you guys.
Look over here.
All right. Good job.
And the second student of the month for Key Elementary is none other than her big sister.
Wow.
Who, not her biggest sister, she has older siblings, but her biggest sister at Key Elementary, Ademilola Adenuga, and Adenuga, amen. And so we're going to call up her teacher, Mrs. Flowers, who's going to give her Student of the Month award.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. This family is amazing. I call her Demi. Demi is what I call my quiet storm in the classroom. She is so shy and so quiet, but she is willing to help anybody in the classroom. She will finish her work within minutes compared to the other students, and then ask me, well, can I help this student with their assignment, or can I help them with their assignment? Always willing to help. Academically, she is surpassing all the levels of all of the children in the classroom. She is there every day, on time, ready to learn, eager to work. And it is just amazing to have this young girl in the classroom. So I'd love to present the Student of the Month to Demi.
Mrs. Provenzola West thought she had me today. But I got a little something for that, all right? So I know those are two students of the month, but I want to take this time out to do a special treat today. So first I want to say, Ekale. That is good evening in Yoruba. Booni, did I say that right? How are you? Bamoni. How are you? I want to take this time to honor Mr. and Mrs. Adinyaga, the amazing parents of our two students. Notice there are two different teachers emailed me to say they wanted to honor those two girls for Student of the Month. They didn't know they were both recommending the sisters of the family, the youngest two at Key Elementary. Although the parents probably don't count it, they probably count it their duty to raise awesome children. But I want to recognize them for trusting Oak Park Schools, and in particular Key Elementary, to educate all four of their children in the Oak Park School District. So I count it a privilege to serve them. Lastly, I want to thank my administrative assistant, Mrs. Lena, for helping me with this gift. So I called Demi to the office when I gave them their invitation, and I asked her what was the family's favorite restaurant, because both girls were being honored tonight, and Mama won't have time to cook dinner this evening. But you know what Demi said? My mama's cooking. Every time I asked her what was their favorite, she said, my mama's cooking. And so here are a few victuals that I got for the family for dinner this evening or anytime this week. And to the family, thank you. Well done, and you are amazing. So I want to present this certificate to Mr. and Mrs. Adinyaga.
You gotta come up and get a picture. Shayna, you wanna do a picture?
Come on, it's our time. Come on.
Get the girls in there too. Get the girls in there too.
Bring the girls up.
Get the girls in there too.
Come on, come on. This is for three of their four children in the Oak Park School District.
All right, all right. All right, great job.
Now top that.
That's
all enough.
I have to move.
We're gonna be here all night.
Good job. That's what's about.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am the understated principal. Humble but yet proud to serve. It pleases me to present to you two of Pepper's finest. I see one of my students here, and I think the other one is coming, but we'll go with our first student. This first young man is named Brandon Johns, and he is in Mrs. Lyons' third grade class. Brandon is a hard, conscientious worker who is always willing to help others. He received the Academic Achievement Award for all A's and B's in the first quarter, along with a Citizenship Award. Brandon always turns in his classroom assignments as well as all of his homework. In addition, Brandon has a great sense of humor and is quick to smile. Come on up, Brandon.
Good job, good job.
Perfect.
All right. Brandon Johnson.
Our next student is also from Mrs. Lyons' third grade classroom. Brooklyn Webster. Brooklyn is a hard, conscientious worker who is always willing to help others. She received the Principal Scholar Award for all A's in the first card marking, along with the Citizenship and Attendance Award. Brooklyn always turns in her classroom assignments as well as all of her homework. Brooklyn, this one's for you. And I would like to take a second to acknowledge the Oak Park Board of Education. We appreciate all of your hard work and all of your efforts.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doug Island, the proud principal of Oak Park Preparatory Academy. I will definitely save you the address. All right. This evening we are honoring two awesome students from 6th grade. Our first student, Summer Littlejohn, was selected for January Student of the Month. January's character trait is respect. Summer is a role model, and her teachers had to say this about Summer. Summer is a role model for respect. She can be counted on to maintain focus on her learning at all times. Summer demonstrates respect for herself and for her learning through how she gives full effort on every task. She shows respect for her teachers every day, always speaking politely. We appreciate Summer's respectful, attentive, and kind manner, and we look forward to a wonderful rest of the year with Summer on our team. Is Summer in the building? All right, I think I saw Summer. So we'll clap it up. Keeping along the lines of January's character trait with respect, our next student of the month, Larry Jones. Larry's teachers had this to say about Larry. Larry demonstrates respect in many ways. He shows respect for learning through his constant effort to improve. We count on Larry to display not only respect, but kindness in the classroom. His smile lights up the room, and we miss him when he's not present. Quite simply, Larry is respectful, a cool student, and we are glad to have him on our team. There, you hold that there. I'm gonna hold this one up for you here. I'm gonna get this next
Put it down a little bit. Perfect. Where's the smile? There you go. Got it.
Good job, good job.
Ms. Brinson, come on in. Mr. Mattis, come on up here. Well, I was expecting to go last, but it's all right, next to last. My name is Derek Falk, and I am the principal of Nova Academy, among other things within the district. And the address, you don't need it. It's the building right here. So when you look out the window, you know Mr. Falk is over there. So right now, we have two special students, and I have 3 of my staff members here. And one, I know she wants to talk about one of these students because we had him since he was in the 5th grade, on and off, and he's doing fantastic work. So at this time, I'm gonna have Ms. G come on up and speak.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for having us. It is with great pleasure that the staff at Nova Academy has selected Adriana Johnson and Devin Lyons as Student of the Month. I I will talk about Adriana first. This is Adriana Johnson. In the short time that Adriana has been at Nova, we've had the pleasure of watching her grow as a student. Adriana has learned to advocate and speak up for herself, becoming more confident, focused, and diligent in her schoolwork. Being conscientious about her schoolwork, Adriana oftentimes redoes work to earn a better grade. This is a true testament to what a hardworking student she has become. We're proud to say that Adriana is being courted by several colleges both locally and out of state. Adriana is not only a good student, but she is also humble, kind, and always willing to help. Her determined and diligent attitude while at Nova has earned her the respect of staff and students, making Adriana a walking affirmation of what we hope Nova students strive to be.
Great job. Going over there. All right, good job.
All right, next at Nova, we have the pleasure of introducing Devin Lyons. Come on, Devin. I'm not gonna cry, we've been there. So, at Nova, we are a family, and Devin Lyons personifies our vision of student growth. His perseverance and his accomplishments has brought us here today. Devin has been a member of Nova family throughout his high school career. We're being modest, but as the principal said, yes, since elementary. While there have been some challenges along the way, the strength of Nova's family bond combined with Devin's family's involvement and his persistence has pushed Devin to challenge himself, thus overcoming unforeseen obstacles and reaching his goal to graduate. As a teacher, it is incredibly fulfilling to watch a student learn and grow as an intellectual young man he is. This year, Devin has proven himself to be motivated and has demonstrated a positive change in maturity. He cooperates with his teachers and other students, works diligently in completing classroom tasks, and his coursework to gain credit during his credit recovery, while also exhibiting great manners and respect in the classroom. It is a pleasure to publicly acknowledge Devin and let him know that Nova recognizes his achievement and personal accomplishments, and we want Devin to know that we are all here and stand behind you.
Good job, good job. All right.
Good evening. I am Sherry Buckseger, proud principal of Oak Park High School, and obviously I saved the best for last.
I'm Mr. Evans, assistant principal at Oak Park High School.
All right.
All right. I am going to start off with our student of the month, who is a senior, Samaya Harmon. Samaya is kind and thoughtful. She looks out for her classmates and always puts their needs before her own. She is a good and hardworking student.
All right.
We have, is Robert Stone here?
Of course.
Sherry, you want to do a picture with Samaya first?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mara, you want to come with them?
All right. We have Robert Stone.
Hey.
Robert is a 10th grade student. His teacher said he is motivated, studious, analytical, proactive, focused, and respectful.
Good job. Good job.
Congratulations.
Yes, he did. All right. I'm trying to get this every month. Oh, that's right.
We have one more student. I know we're supposed to have two. We had 3 this time.
Miss Marcella Burrell, please, ninth grade student.
She swears she's here. She was just in the hallway with us. I will go back.
So as she walk up, I'll speak about her. She has demonstrated a high level of qualities that we would love our students to demonstrate, especially coming in as a ninth grade student. It's very difficult to get yourself on task and to get yourself together and bring yourself through where people and adults can recognize that. And she's shown a kind, caring, and dedicated student who collaborates and does well with others. So I want to celebrate her as a ninth grade student coming in doing an excellent job.
Right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pay attention to detail.
Big, beautiful
Good
smile.
job. Good job. All right.
I believe, President Alvin, with that, I just want to say this is exactly what Oak Park Schools is all about, and sometimes from the outside people don't see, but this is an amazing thing for me. It motivates me. It reminds me of why we do what we do, so I want to thank the parents for putting in that time to help us.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, trustee Hoyda?
So I just want to, I was taking some notes as we were listening to some of those great accolades, and I was noticing not only that we're celebrating not just the academic accomplishments of our students, but celebrating their kindness, helpfulness, positivity, eagerness, consistency, hard work, conscientious, which is a word that I can spell here that nobody has to check, respect, advocacy, perseverance, thoughtfulness, focused, and collaborativeness. And that's, as Superintendent Abdul had just said, that's what we're all about in Oak Park, to notice those qualities, that's what we celebrate in our students as well. And I just want to celebrate also what we saw here on the board that maybe not everyone else saw, is we heard about the Adinago family earlier, but watching how they celebrate each other when they were getting their accolades, that was really heartwarming and speaks to what a wonderful family it is. So thank you to all the families that are here for all of the work you're doing, and thank you to everybody for partnering with us and trusting us to provide that education for your children that you clearly value. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you want to say something?
I'm going to.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just a note in the words of Benjamin E. Mays, who's a minister and poet and civil rights advocate. Just continue to reach for those stars. I heard a lot of words that were what kind of person I mean. Perseverance. You young men and women just continue to persevere. Parents, keep parenting. That's what it's about. I'm one of the stern advocates for parents because I too, have a child who grew up in this district, and by all means, I advocate for parents, and I just like seeing what I see. So thank you very much for the parents, your continuance, and thank you students. Keep on keeping on.
Want to thank all of our principals for coming out to 13,900. Want to thank all our students and our parents. I know I can probably speak on the board's behalf when I say we're very proud of our students, and equally as proud and humbled by the work that the parents are doing with those students. Certainly appreciate you all. That's when you can start making some real headway with your students, when the parents are engaged, and so we appreciate you for that. Is there anything else from the board before we? No? Okay. I say this every month. You are more than welcome to stay here with us and take in the rest of the meeting.
We have an audit report.
We have an audit report. How exciting is that? But I certainly understand if you all want to get home and start cooking and making sure if everybody wants to take off. So what we'll do is we'll take 3 minutes to let everybody exit. Who wants to exit? It's an open meeting, so stay if you like, but 3 minutes. So we'll do that, and then we'll get going with the rest of the meeting. Thank you all. Where's Mr. Haley at? Okay, thank you. We're back, and we're going to continue.
You guys can just share this.
We're going to continue with our presentations. And we have with us our council member, I want to make sure, I believe it's pro tem as well, Julie Egger. Ms. Egger, we're happy to have you with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Superintendent Houlihan, Chairperson Elvin. I'm Julie Edgar. I'm Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Oak Park. And we're here tonight at the invitation of Mr. Elvin. I hope that this becomes a regular occurrence, that the City Council has some representation at your meetings. We want to talk about these students who have been awarded, and we think it's important to develop some synergy with you, the Board of Education. Anyway, I'm just here tonight. I'm going to do a quick presentation on a new, it's now part of our master plan. We have been working with a company for the last year to look at our parks, Oak Park parks, and come up with a plan for renovating, upgrading. Our facilities are older. For anybody, I'm assuming everybody here lives in Oak Park, so you know we have good and bad, but we know that we've got a ways to go. So the group we chose, Smith Group, which is based in Ann Arbor, they chose 7 parks and came up with a plan for each of them. So Shepherd Park being the sort of jewel in the crown of Oak Park parks. Tyler, which is behind, it's in North Oak Park behind Berkeley Building Blocks, Nora Middle School, it's in that area. Dewey, which is on the west side of town. Key, which is off of Scotia, and we had representation tonight. Best Park, which is on the east side of the city. And Rothstein, which is sort of an overpass park. I don't know if you're all familiar with Rothstein. It's north of 10 Mile, sort of off of Belfour, but it was designed when 696 came through. So it's an overpass park. Anyway, they identified 7 parks and came up with some plans for really upgrading. And we have some fantastic ideas in play. We're going to do, first of all, we're going to connect all of the bike paths in town, the greenways. So each of these parks is going to connect to the neighborhoods, so that if you want to ride your bike, walk, you can connect throughout the city. We have pretty active bike riders here, and it's always stop and start. We are hoping that this is going to provide a way for people to really ride all over the city safely. We're going to expand play areas. We're going to put an elevated walkway in Best Park. We are going to remove all of the pavement in Rothstein Park because it's not really a well-used park. We're going to create a huge play area for kids. At Shepherd Park, we're going to have a new court area that could be basketball courts, it could be pickleball courts. All of these courts are going to serve several functions. We are doing an indoor-outdoor nature center in Shepherd Park. On our wish list is a senior housing tower, senior community where the ice arena is. Is everybody familiar with the ice arena?
Yes.
Yes. The ice arena is not open to the public. It
Used to be.
used to be, that's right. People remember skating there. We have a company that uses it, and that's fine, but we feel that we are now in need of a space, and we want to do a senior community there. We need housing pretty desperately in Oak Park. We're also talking about a community center, which would have meeting rooms for seniors, for teenagers. We would have an indoor pool, basketball courts, et cetera, et cetera. This is over a 10-year period that we're envisioning this. So it's going to take time, and all of these plans will be tweaked as we go. The price tag's high, but this was just estimates of what all of this would cost. We're going to start small, and as people move into the city and get used to all of the good things that we're offering, we're hoping to get support. So I made some copies of the plan for anybody who's interested in reviewing it. So, if there are any questions, I'll take them.
I just have one. I mean, is this online, like we can find it like on the city's website as well?
Yep.
Okay.
This is all online.
Okay.
And please, I mean, we want engagement. We want the school board to talk to us. And so please, I'm sort of the first one. This is inaugural, but we hope to have somebody here at every single meeting if you'll have us, and we can talk about whatever. I think it's fantastic that you recognize these students. I would like to bring this back to the city council and say this is what is going on in the district.
So is, I mean, I was gonna hit on this later, but I'll just note it now. So, under the partnership with, a partnership with Councilmember Sean Whitehead, he mentioned to me the opportunity for someone from the city council to come here at least once a month to let us know what's going on over there, and someone from our side to go over to city council meetings to let them know what's going on over here. I want to, thank Councilmember Julie Edgar for being the first one to get us going. I intend to go to the very next city council meeting, and then hopefully it doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be her. Someone else can rotate off of on our board and go and tell them what's going on over here, and the same with them. So, did you have something? I'm sorry. No. Any other questions? Any questions from the board at all? Nothing. We appreciate you being here, Councilmember Edgar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we continue on with our presentations. Item 5C, audit results report. Mr. Rolk.
Good evening. Good evening. My name's Mike Rolka with Yo-Yo CPAs. I'm a senior manager, and I've been working on the audit for the last couple of years here at the district. Happy to be here tonight and glad to see all the awards and recognitions. I don't see this at every school district that I present at, so it's really great when you see these types of things. We're on page 1 here already, and this page is actually really the bottom line of an audit. And so before I get to that, I want to talk about what is an audit, because there's a lot of misconceptions about that. When people think of auditors, they think that they're in there looking for fraud, and that really isn't the purpose of an audit. That's a sort of a byproduct of an audit, and we do certain tests and procedures to help identify that. But it's really management's responsibility to have internal controls in place to help prevent or detect these types of things in a reasonable time period. We design procedures based on our risk assessment in order to look at the financial statement numbers to determine whether they're materially stated. And in this case, the district's statements were materially correct, which led to our unmodified opinion. What I always like to say to school districts is that's like getting an A+. So congratulations to all of you in the business team. Excuse me. The last thing I'd like to say about the opinion is it's the highest level of assurance you can obtain from a CPA. It must be issued by a licensed CPA who's independent of the district. I have a number of slides here that are snapshots and highlights of the financial numbers. Remember, this is as of June 30th, 2022, the most recent fiscal year ended. So some of these numbers, I would guess, have changed quite significantly since. So I'm just going to briefly discuss what some of these numbers here mean. The focus is going to be on the general fund, as that's the primary operating fund of the district. You'll see there's about $11 million in cash, and then a big $13 million number there that's due from other governments. And what that represents is state aid receivables and federal funding that's going to come in future periods. Then some prepaid items for mostly insurances. Down in the liabilities section, there's just two sections that I'd like to point out. The one is accrued expenditures for about $2 million, and that represents mostly fringe benefits, so your MIPSers payables and other payroll liabilities. Immediately underneath that is the accrued salaries payable, and that's pretty much the summer pay for all of the teachers who have completed their contract during the school district year. At the bottom, you'll see that line for deferred inflow of resources, and that's $1.8 million. What that represents is receivables, so it's included in the receivable balance we talked about, that were not collected within 60 days of the district's year end. That's just an accounting rule. Those funds are coming in, and by now they would have all been received. One of the other key areas you see on this is that middle fund, the 2021 Capital Projects Fund, which has just about $13.7 million in cash, and that's the unspent bond proceeds, remember, as of June 30. So about $1 million as of June 30 of that bond was spent, but that money is segregated into that specific fund to be spent on bond projects. I'd like to move to the next slide, where there's a short discussion on the fund balances then of these funds. There's two things I'd like to point out here. One, that the general fund had a budgeted deficit for fiscal year 23, an intended usage of fund balance of $5.2 million, and so that is assigned for the subsequent year expenditures. And the unassigned balance then was just about $11 million. I have a little more commentary on that coming up, but that is a very healthy fund balance. And so what I want to say about that is dipping into it for that $5 million isn't an alarm, if you will. You have the funds available from past savings to be able to use in your future plans. In the capital projects line, within the capital project fund, that represents all of the fund balance of the bond fund to be used strictly for the intent of the bond. And that one in particular, I expect by now would have probably changed quite significantly as bond projects have undergone. Slide 4 here is a snapshot, very high level snapshot of the revenues and expenditures and how the fund balances have changed during fiscal 22. You'll see the general fund had a reduction of fund balance of $4 million, the capital projects fund of $3 million, and all the other funds of $2.6 million. One thing I'd like to mention is even with that general fund reduction, the ending fund balance was $17 million in total, and that represented 29% fund balance, which is, as I previously mentioned, a very healthy fund balance. That's always a good thing to see. This is a budgetary highlight of the general fund to indicate how accurate the budgeting was. You see the original budget started out at $62 million for revenues and $68 million for expenditures. Those were both reduced with the final budget, and actually both came in under budget, and the accuracy was about 93% for revenues and 93% for expenditures. You'll notice the final budget and the actual results were almost hand in hand with the amount that was expected from a net income or change in fund balance, if you will, of a reduction of about $4 million each. So a 93% accuracy, I think, is pretty good. Here's just a pictorial representation of the varying revenue sources for the general fund. These are the big categories that your revenues get lumped in. I'm guessing it's no surprise to anybody here that state sources of $38 million make up the bulk of your revenue, followed up by your federal sources, which include grants such as the special education grants, the title grants, education stabilization funds, and the Workforce Investment Act grants. The next two areas that are there, both at about $4 million, are inter-district payments from the Oakland ISD, as well as your property tax collections. Here's a 5-year trend of revenues. You'll see from 2018 down to 2020 there were significant decreases with a big jump in 21 and then back down in 22. That big jump is really all of the CARES Act funding and the varying funds that came out of the COVID pandemic. And so that really infused a lot of money into schools and governments. A very similar pie chart here with the expenditures. The biggest piece of that pie at 55% is instruction, which is consistent with other districts in the area, and that's what we'd expect to see, is that most of the costs are going towards the teachers to educate the students, followed up by supporting services, which includes counselors, administration, and other things, transportation, that sort of stuff. And then a small piece for community services and capital outlays. A 5-year trend of expenditures, which, similar to the revenues, decreased from 18 to 20, had an increase in 21, and then an increase in 22. As I said, some of the fund balance was utilized in 2022, but again, all of these CARES Act funds and education stabilization funds are required to be spent in a certain time period. So getting those expenditures in and used is vitally important, and I know you guys are on top of that. Here's a trend information over the past 5 years of how much revenues and expenditures are being spent per pupil. So from 2018 to 2022, you'll see a gradual increase, and due to, again, going back to, I sound like a broken record here, but all of the funding that came out of the pandemic, you can see that the students really are benefiting about $4,000 on average per student. And a lot of that, I've seen at a lot of my districts, and I know here as well, a lot of Chromebooks are being provided to every student, and they're able to work on those at home and in the classroom. This chart is one that nobody ever wants to see, but unfortunately is pretty true across the state, is declining enrollment. This is a 10-year chart where we do see increases from 13 to 18, and then steady decreases forward. That's just the result of really many Michiganders not having as many children as they have in the past. One thing to consider with that is the state allowance is purely based on pupil count, so that's something that could have an effect should that continue to decline into the future. Lastly, I'd like to talk about some of our findings and recommendations. And there's varying levels of findings and recommendations that auditors put out. The most severe being called a material weakness, which I'm happy to report we have no material weaknesses, meaning anything that we've identified or any recommendations we have didn't lead to significant misstatements within the financial statements. We do have one finding that is a repeat finding that I would like to, how do I say this? Many districts have this finding these days, and what it relates to is having too much fund balance in the food service fund. And the reason for that, it was especially true after the pandemic, is all of those meals are being provided for free. So the district did not have to put out as much money to pay for the costs of the food. So most districts throughout the pandemic, over the past few years really, increased their fund balance and were not able to spend it fast enough in order to keep it in the prescribed guidelines. What the federal government says is you have to have no more than 3 months of expenditures on hand. And so I know many districts are in the same position as Oak Park, and so it is something that we're required to report, and the state of Michigan MDE is aware of it, and they don't really, they still want it reported, but it's not as though they're taking those funds back. They just want them spent at some point in the future for cafeteria upgrades, lunchroom upgrades, whatever you may be able to do, or increasing food quality. With that, we do have a single audit, which is the compliance audit of the federal funds. That's required whenever somebody spends more than $750,000 in a single year on federal funds, which your district will do every single year due to the federal grants that are provided. For this year, the major programs we tested was the Education Stabilization Fund and the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act cluster. We provided unmodified opinions on both of those, meaning there was no non-compliance noted, and we had no findings related to those. I'm happy to report. Lastly, there's some required communications that I'd like to make just to make sure that everybody's aware of what the significant estimates are as we develop the financial statements, and there's 3 of them. The first one is the estimate of useful lives on capital assets, which affects how much are those capital assets depreciated each year. So that could be if you have a building, are you depreciating it over 30 years or 50 years, as an example. And then the other 2 significant estimates are related to the pension and OPEB liabilities, the MIPSR plans. And so that's the assumptions that go into those plans. There are some upcoming GASB statements. That's the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. That is the board that sets the rules for the accounting of the district. There's 3 of them. Statement number 96, which is the most significant and will have the largest impact on the district. It's required to be implemented for fiscal 23. And what that does is it requires the recording and the recognition of subscription-based information technology arrangements. Say that 5 times fast. So that would be like cloud-based software and the types of software you have subscriptions for. In the past, that had always just been ran through expense on a monthly basis. What it will require in the future is to be recorded as a right-to-use asset and a long-term liability when those are contracts over more than 1 year period. Really saying, you know, we have committed to this 5-year asset and liability. There's 2 others that are much less significant. There's GASB statement number 100 that changes the rules on how to report corrections of an error, which hopefully we never have to worry about here. And that's implemented in fiscal 24. And then GASB statement 101 that clarifies how to account for compensated absences. That is effective in fiscal 25 because you know it's been a number of years since the GASB has looked at how to account for those, and many other things have happened since then, such as more of like a blended PTO time versus separated sick time and vacation time. So they're just bringing it all together so that everybody's doing it under one model. But again, that one's a couple years away.
I'm sorry. And that was statement number what again?
Statement 101.
101.
We have a couple of comments for your consideration. The first one is to review those Michigan escheat laws to make sure that all of the unclaimed property are being turned over to the state of Michigan with their prescribed timelines. They have varying rules depending on what sort of disbursement it was. So basically what it means though is that if there's a stale check and it's been outstanding for a certain period of time, it's required to be remitted to the state. And the last one is that we just had a couple of immaterial audit adjustments. We recommend a thorough review at year end to correct those. Those were to correct the MIPSR's accrual, so the pension accrual at the end of the year, record some additional receivables, and then just a reclassification of indirect costs. Those were all minor in nature compared to the financial statements as a whole, and that's why there's no finding for those, I'm happy to say. With that, I'd like to thank everybody at the district, thank the board for having Yo and Yo as your auditors. We're pleased to be your auditor. And thank the business and finance staff. You guys did a really great job. Kudos to you guys. And really, it is a tremendous amount of work for the business and finance team to prepare and be ready for an audit. You know, that's on top of their daily duties, and we recognize that as auditors, but they don't always get the recognition they deserve, so thank you guys very much.
Good job.
Any questions that I could answer?
Trustee Hoyt.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to say thank you. I know for our business and finance team, Dr. Hill, Dan, Jody, that this was a year of a lot of unexpected obstacles. And so I want to thank you for your hard work to go through all that and come out with an unmodified opinion is really something to celebrate. So thank you. So you mentioned that an unmodified opinion is the A+ in the words of auditing. How common is it for districts to get something other than an unmodified opinion?
Sure. So for school districts, I would say it's very rare because of such high level of oversight with Michigan Department of Education, as well as all the federal agencies that are constantly doing audits of the grants. Now, for other industries, it's more common, especially to have what we call a qualified opinion, where we would say the financial statements are correct except for this one area. And really it's a result of industry, so the industry that you're in. So if we pick on a different industry, so some sort of a for-profit industry, usually they're getting an audit just because their bank wants it, because of some debt agreement they may have, but the bank may not care about a certain segment of the financial statements. So for school districts, most of them have an unmodified opinion, and the MDE would be less than pleased if it didn't get there.
So if we can expect that almost all school districts are going to get that unmodified opinion, as a board providing oversight, when we're reading the audit report, what else should we be looking at to see the difference between the A+ that is sort of solidly there and the A++ that maybe we need to start watching out for supports that may be needed to keep us there?
Sure, and that would be the findings and the recommendations, and I would say it's never such a bad thing to have a finding or recommendation. It's just an area for improvement, and that's what you'd want to see is constant improvement, right? Just like any student, you know, if they don't do well on one test but they take a test and they improve, that's what you're looking for. So specifically, if we talk about the program income finding that we have for the food service funds, this year there was an improvement. About $465,000 of the fund balance as of June 30, 21 was spent down by June 30, 22. But the excess was just so great that it's going to take time. So really, constant improvement is the way that I would say it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Davis and Trustee Corcoran and Trustee Davis.
I just wanted to commend the entire team to deal with this amount of funds in this day and age, dealing with the pandemic still. And I just remember my frenzy for audit for my little nonprofit, you know, so just to, I commend you all, not only for the unmodified, but so few findings. That is tremendous, and thank you for your hard work and dedication to make that happen.
Trustee Davis, Trustee Corcoran.
Yes. It's a question in regards to the acronym, GATSB. Can you tell us what that acronym is?
Yep, that's the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, and what that does is they set the rules for the district's accounting.
Thank you. The other thing that I do know that we talk about the funds for, you know, the food service. Has there ever been a way, or has there ever happened when the government gives too much grant to where that it's in, you know, how you get like $1 million and you really can't live it, you know, like spend it in so much time, but is it ever happened where they give too much grant money that we can't spend it, but yet they still make that provision where you have to spend so much by a certain time, or the fiscal year?
That's almost what has happened here because of the pandemic, and I think that's why they're not actually recouping it. They're keeping it here at the district just to be used over future periods, because it was nearly impossible for many districts to be able to spend it down at the rate it was coming in when you guys were being fully reimbursed through the pandemic for all meals. Yeah.
It would be nice if we can send some of the children home with the food, you know, to utilize the overage that they do give us. But thank you.
I'll refer that to your attorneys to validate on that one.
Trustee Smith.
Yeah, in respect to deferred inflows of resources, are we indicating that that this is associated with governmental funds that are still being dispersed? Because I heard the word transit, so. Yeah.
So the deferred inflows of resources represent money that the district is entitled to as of June 30th, but you just haven't received it yet outside of 60 days past your year end. It's just a special governmental accounting rule. In any for-profit business, that would just be recognized as revenue without that special
So is that-
deferred inflow rule.
So is that a standard reporting practice?
Yes, yes it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, relative to the deferred inflows of resources, why is that not considered an asset? If it's like a receivable.
Yep, the other, in the double entry accounting system, when you set up that receivable, you will debit the receivable, so you'll increase the receivable, and then the offset is the deferred inflow, since we're not posting it to revenue. So that balance you see, the 1.8, it is included actually in the receivable balance.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you. And then, one more question. You mentioned about like how it might be federal government or state that would require money back in the event that we don't spend it. In the healthcare world, we call that a risk corridor. Does it have a name in education?
You know, that's usually reserved for, at least from what I've seen, the insurance footnote, if you will, in the varying insurance. There's really not a name for that. It'd just be really unspent funds from a grant. So maybe if your grant lapses and you haven't spent all the funds.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Roca?
Mr. Roca.
Woke up. Is there an E on the end?
There's an A. If you got dropped off, that's okay.
Got it. All right. Sorry, Mr. Roca. Hearing none, thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you all. Very nice work.
Also want to thank the team for the hard work. We've been a lot of turnover, a lot of everything going on. So thank you all for your work as well. Much appreciated. We will go into item number 6. We have one report this evening from Mr. Abdullah. Mr. Abdullah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Elvin. The only thing that because we've gone so long with the Students of the Month and audit report, just want to report out on the cheer competition that we had at the high school. Then I'll save everything else for February 6th. The coaches did an amazing job. The athletic director, Coach Trice, managing 26 schools. I think 24 schools showed up. We had all hands on deck. The girls varsity team, I believe, placed second in the competition. The JV took first place, and middle school took first place. So I applaud those girls. They look fabulous in the pictures that I got. I just got to send them, so if anybody's here from that, it was the pictures were amazing. So right now I'm being selfish on them. I haven't shared them yet, but I'll share them. I know, but kudos to the athletic department, the security team, the high school team, everyone. We had no incidents there, and we got a lot of positive feedback from a lot of neighboring districts how they felt inside our schools. So that's my report on that. I just want to congratulate them. And we are the kids are doing amazing things at our school. And we're getting parents, as you can see, we are getting parents on board. And many of them are excited. So that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Anything for Superintendent Abdullah? I have two. One is, can we get to meet the young ladies that or whomever was a part of that event, that place? Can we get to meet them too?
Yeah, so we were going
selfish, you know.
I know. I'm going to have them. I'm going to have them come up, but I just didn't have enough time to notify them.
And then in a future report or presentation or something, can we get some information on how we're doing relative to our AP course offerings How we're identifying students who we feel will benefit from those type of courses, and what we're doing to sort of expand the breadth of what we're doing in the AP world or any other, honors type of offering. If we could do that, that would be great.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, if nothing else from the board, we have come to the part of the meeting where the public has an opportunity to address the board if it so desires. Public participation is one-way communication in which members of the public are asked to address the full board, with the understanding that board members will not be able to respond. I just want to, before, I know we have someone up there now. If you have not filled out a card, please fill out a comment card. And those are at the back of the room, I believe, right? They're yellow. So if you have not filled one out, we got to explain this anyway, so that gives you a few seconds to fill it out. So Trustee Davis, if you would provide the public comment guidelines, thank you.
Because the Oak Park Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome public comment on school issues. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner, with due process for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. The public comment portion of the meeting cannot be used to make personal attacks against a school board member or school district employee that disrupts the order of the meeting and is totally unrelated to the manner in which the member or employee performs his or her duties. Speakers should be aware that if statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, such comments may result in legal liability. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on a topic or issue and not be directed at specific personnel or board members.
Thank you, Trustee Davis. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the board? The pen is not working?
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right.
Hey,
You have yours? Okay, come on, come on.
Good evening, I will be brief. I didn't plan to say anything, but sitting here, I think maybe the board needs to be aware of people in the community.
She needs to get your card, that's all. The card.
The yellow card.
The yellow card.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need
Can
to
you give
hold
it to
up.
Ms. Greer,
Or I
please?
need to go there?
Okay.
Okay. My name is Zakia Hollyfield.
Come.
Do I need to take my mask down?
No, we can hear you, just speak loud, it's okay.
I'm here representing the Oak Park Democratic Board. I'm a trustee with them. And also the library, Oak Park Library, the president of the Oak Park Library. And both of these organizations really want to work with the board to see how we can help in improving this. I believe the president, who now we have a new president, has contacted Mr. Elvin saying, what can we do as a Democratic board, to help with the situation. Also, being president of the library board, you all may be aware that the library is closed from 3 to 4 because of the behavior of the children, and it became a safety item. We don't have the personnel, paid personnel in the library to watch them, so we have had to hire security. We have security that starts from 4 to 8, and the library is closed from 3 to 4. And I have to thank Mr. Smith because he was coming over there. He was a true worker. He was helping us with the kids and getting them out of the way because it was like wilding out time. School gets out and they just come across the street and they're just wilding out. So we had to do something about that because people were coming in to use the library. They couldn't use it because it was so disruptive. But we also are trying to do something too. We have esports at the high school, and we're trying to get some grants to have some other things there. We had a hip-hop class going on. We thought the kids might like that, but they didn't show up. So it's a problem of them not really wanting to participate. I think they just want to just, as they say, wind down at the end of the day. But the winding down was disruptive, and there was a safety factor. But anyway, I want you to know that both of these organizations want to work with the district and whatever we can do to help, and we're trying to think of some other ideas that we can do. We're trying to get grants to help because we don't have a lot of money either, to help with this. So, You know, anything you can think of that we can do to help, we are willing to help with this. We do have a teen book club. Unfortunately, we only have like 5 kids that show up for it. You know, reading, I think social media on your phone is more important than reading a book. And some of the other things that we've tried to do. If we just say, come in and, you know, put your phone, plug your phone in and get it turned up, they do that because they really use those machines. But any ideas that you have, please let us know because we are willing to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for the record, that was Zakia Holyfield.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, who else we have?
Jennifer Orman.
Oh, we got
Well, what's your, what you've already up there. What's your name?
sorry.
What's your
Kyla
name?
Adams.
Kyla Adams.
All right. Hi, my name is Kyla Adams. I'm a senior at Oak Park High School. I'm also the senior class officer treasurer. Today I'm reading this message on behalf of our class president, Ramona Williams. Good evening, everyone. On January 6, 2023, I attended a basketball game at Oak Park High School. By January 7, 2023, I was traumatized due to the events that were inflicted on one of my fellow classmates the night before. As young, ambitious, and talented students attending Oak Park High School, we should be protected physically and mentally. I feel as though my school failed me at every aspect that night. Every morning, our very own students get their bags checked and are late to class because of it. Yet the one night where our school is vulnerable to the unknown entering our school, there was no security because nothing was secured. There were no pat-downs or bag checks. There was no security by the door asking for IDs, but they're sure to be there every morning. They made sure I had money to pay for the game, but didn't ensure my safety. For 3 to 4 hours, I sat next to an armed suspect with a fully loaded gun without knowing, watching him as he and his friends searched for prey in the crowded bleachers like vultures. When the game ended, the security kicked us out of the school like street rats. There was no security walking out with us, making sure students got in their cars or any way of transportation home, like they do any other school day. We were not safe. There were no police cars waiting outside that night in case they were just so happened to be a fight like any other time. We were not safe. And due to all of these mistakes that were made, we now have to deal with the PTSD and the excruciating memory embedded in our young minds because our system failed us. Much like last year when a freshman attending Oak Park High School got jumped and attacked by almost 15 other Oak Park students for several minutes, he was not saved. Also the day where multiple people came into our building and attacking us and we didn't know what would happen. We were not protected as they stood in the tables and we didn't know if they were armed or not. Just standing there in vulnerability, scared to leave or stay in the building. I understand mistakes happen and that our securities or headquarters cannot know everything before it happens, but a lot of these events could have been prevented. Our school has been on the news one too many times and it's embarrassing. Our students should feel safe to come to school and watch a basketball game or to come to school and learn and exit without being in harm's way. I fear for our future. Who will we be if not the superheroes we are supposed to look up to? Our school is frowned upon. We're losing teachers we didn't plan on retiring from here for another couple of years because they don't feel protected either. I don't blame them. Starting my senior year of high school, I was so excited to enjoy my last year with peers and make memories we won't forget. But now I'm so drained and stressed of traumatic memories we can't forget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jennifer Orman.
Good evening. Jennifer Ormond, is it still protocol to state my address?
No.
Okay.
I don't think we require that, do we?
I've been a
It's on the
teacher,
card.
I'm sorry?
It's on
It's
the
on the
card.
Okay.
Sure.
I've been a teacher in the Oak Park School District for the past 6 years. 2 years ago, I stood at this very podium and warned that this district would be losing good teachers if you did not drastically change the way things work, myself included. In the past 2 years, this district has lost approximately 30% of its teaching staff, including several veteran teachers of the district. You can add one more to the list. This year will be my last, not only in this district, but also in teaching as a profession. This is the toxicity and stress that is Oak Park. I initially planned to come here tonight to talk about the insanity that's the evaluation process, but something else happened on January 6th that takes precedence. I won't rehash the event. Many of us are still traumatized, especially my seniors. I will tell you I am angry. Not once have I heard the district or administration take any accountability for the events that transpired that evening, yet accountability is said to be one of our core values. I'm here tonight to hold you accountable to the students and community you're supposed to serve. I want to know why an individual was allowed to be in our school building at a very crowded basketball game with a loaded weapon for 3 hours, yet my students can't get to their first hour class every morning due to being held up at bag checks. Last year, 6 people pushed their way into the school and inflicted violence on both students and staff, yet we still only have a handful of security personnel working 12 to 16-hour days. Why didn't we have enough security to staff the outside of the school, as we dismissed what is being reported as close to 600 people from the school building? And why is our relationship with Oak Park Public Safety so tarnished that they won't help us ensure the safety of students, staff, and community? Isn't an ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure? I want to know why, in a staff meeting the Monday after, we spent time celebrating administrative personnel at central office. This was not a time for celebration. Or why the following day we revisited the trauma in every class hour when most of my students are not comfortable in the presence of teachers they are expected to relive this with. So many things went wrong that could have been prevented had this district been proactive and listened to us over the past several years. Yet we were denied funding for added security measures by this school board, and our brand new superintendent has had to search for funding from outside sources because we can't protect our own. I'm angry. As a teacher, I have to be proactive. I expect the same from the people who are my leaders. While we've taken some reactive measures to ensure this doesn't happen again, my student's life has forever changed due to the lack of oversight and preparation by our school, the district, and the school board. As educators and as a school board, we're tasked with ensuring the safety and well-being of the students in our charge. It's part of the job of being in public service, service being the key word. We are failing our students at every corner, and I can't be party to a system or a district where well-being is not a first priority. The students don't even take the Panorama survey seriously anymore because they don't think anyone has been reading it over the past couple years. I talk to them every day. Our students don't feel cared for here, nor do I. For the sake of the children and this community, I hope that you take a long look in the mirror tonight at who is responsible for changing this. Hopefully, moving forward, you can make a change for the better so that next time we aren't planning a funeral instead of making get well soon cards. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
Michaela Drake.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michaela Drake. I attend Oak Park High School. I'm a senior. I am the vice president. I've been at Oak Park School since kindergarten, and I must say it has never been like this. I know you guys know about the incident on January 16th. One of my friends was injured and my heart was crushed. Because of the incident and the way the school handled it, yeah, we got a day out of school, but, you know, parents wasn't notified about the incident until 12:47 at night. So, let's say one of the students was there, their parent wasn't notified. Just to refresh your memory, this is not the first time this has happened. Last year, people were rushing to our schools, and once again, we feel endangered. But not only that, my concern for my safety, I want to address the fact that I haven't had an English teacher half of my 4 years of school. I'm not talking about a sub or ingenuity. I'm talking about a real teacher. I have numerous substitutes. Y'all wonder why attendance is so poor. I haven't heard the district or the school ask about how we feel about anything. As a student at Oak Park, I'm very disappointed in one change for our upperclassmen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we have Judith, I can't read.
Oh, Salador.
Salador.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Judith Salador, and I'm here as a representative of Oak Park Youth Assistance. For those of you who do not know what Oak Park Youth Assistance is, it is an organization that comes to serve youth and families, to strengthen them in order to decrease juvenile delinquency and reduce neglect and abuse through volunteer efforts. Since September, I've had the pleasure of joining Oak Park Youth Assistance and actually becoming the chair of a co-chair of a committee, and in which we are striving to create an after-school program for our teens. And this is in response to something that Superintendent Abdullah had said, that Oak Park Youth Assistance actually saved his life. And hopefully this is a solution to some of the things that are going on. So since September, my team has been working so hard behind the scenes. We've actually have surveyed the students over at Oak Park High School, seeing what they're wanting. And one of the things that has been coming up in them, and this is actually back in November, is that they actually want a safe place. They want a haven for them. And this is to capture the students who either do not want to go home right after school, or they aren't picked up until like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So we want to create a place for them to where it can be a place for them to wind down, a place for them to just feel safe. That was like the main thing that we kept hearing from the students. So since then, we have been working on raising funds, getting donations. Our goal is to actually build something and have something that's going to last. And so with that, there's a lot of structural planning that needs to happen. We're working on getting staffed members on here for the students, and hopefully the plan is to actually have this launching in 2023. So want to be keeping the board updated and what's going on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go on to our action items. Action item 8A, OPSD food service, GMC food box truck with lift gate. Is there a motion? Trustee Rita?
Oh.
Trustee Rita?
Resolved that the Oak Park Board of Education accepts the administration recommendation to purchase one 15-foot GMC Savannah box truck with lift gate to be purchased through Todd Wenzel Buick GMC of Westland, Michigan, in the amount of $56,198. The pricing of this unit was made possible through the State of Michigan My Deal Purchasing Consortium. The base amount of the truck with box and lift gate is $54,840. However, the recommendation to extend the truck's bumper-to-bumper warranty from 36 months to 60 months in the amount of $1,358 is included in the recommendation. This truck will be purchased through the First Food Service Fund balance.
Okay. Motion made by Hood. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded by Trustee Smith. Any question on the motion? We talked about this last meeting. Are any questions on this motion? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Elvin,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
and Holder.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. We'll go to item 8B, replacement PXC controller panels to operate and monitor the HVAC, electrical, and other systems at 3 Oak Park Elementary Schools, Einstein, Key, and Pepper. Trustee Davis, would you please read the motion?
Resolved that the Oak Park Board of Education approve the purchase of 3 PXC controllers, one each for Einstein, Key, and Pepper Elementary Schools from Simons Industry Incorporated of Plymouth, Michigan, in the amount of $55,055.46 per the attached quotes dated December 5th, 2022. The bid pricing for these units are through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Consortium and will be paid for through the proceeds of the Oak Park Schools 2021 bond.
Motion made by Trustee Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Trustee Corcoran. Any question on this motion? Comment? Ms. Griffin?
I'm sorry, I do have one
Go ahead.
question. I know last time I did ask about the air blowing onto, well, it was toward the actual desk of the teacher, but when you said that they can control it, is it controlling to just go up and down, or just, is it controlling to go up and down, or redirect? Which control?
Will be on the temperature. Again, these are all being, all the school HVAC systems, the vertical units, are still being adjusted. And then these panels will help them monitor even stronger. So the airflow will be monitored through this. The teachers only have a 4-degree up and down swing for their temperature. That's the only control they have.
So like if the the air is blowing, because I know you have, if I don't know if it's controlled this way, but once the room hits a certain temperature, it kind of cools it down, so that's that cool air coming in. So is there like one of those little plastic, like divider that can kind of
deflector?
Yeah, deflector, that's what it's
If the teacher would like a deflector, we could probably provide one to
Okay.
him or her. But that would, be a separate.
Because even
request.
like a vent, you know,
But
you
if the
can.
air is constantly going, then there would be an issue with that, and that would be found out with the system. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Holder,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
and Alvin.
Yes. Item 8C, acceptance of the June 30th, 2022 audit report. Is there a motion? Let's see, Trustee Smith.
Resolved that the Oak Park Board of Education accepts the audit report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, as presented this evening by Mr. Michael Roca, Yo and Yo.
Second.
The motion is made by Trustee Smith, seconded by Trustee Davis. I do have one quick question. Is there an opportunity to get this a little sooner, moving forward in ensuing years? This is, 7 months.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see this like before now. Next.
Yes, due to the changes and things of that nature and the circumstances, but,
My only concern is like if they got any like they didn't really have any findings, but like if they have any findings or there are any issues or by the time we're seeing it, or even though the letter was dated in November, but
Yeah.
by the time we're having this conversation, it's like the year's halfway over, so it'd be nice to have the conversation a little sooner. So.
definitely.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Alvin,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
and Holder.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to item 9A, information items, thermalmetric sales tax PO increase. Superintendent Abdullah, who we calling on?
Yeah, Darren Phillips.
Okay.
I'm going to speak to that. Back in August, there was an approval for the HVAC units for both the high school and for the transportation building. At that time, the bid information was presented to the board. It was about $2.278 million. The recommendation came down, everything went smoothly. Subsequent to that, we were notified that the way it was worded should have included the sales tax. That was, it was about $127,400. That was to be included in that initial bid amount, but it wasn't. Now, the sales tax, people say, well, we're not supposed to pay sales tax. Well, it wasn't us paying it, it's actually the manufacturer, the supplier that's paying the sales tax. Typically, they pass that along to us. They don't break it out. The unfortunate thing Thermalnetics did was they broke out the sales tax, and so we kind of read into it a little differently. And our purchase order, and again, the presentation we made to the board, came up with the $2.78 million, and again, it should have included the sales tax in that amount.
Yeah.
So,
Your question may be mine, so go ahead.
So, how many bids did we get on this item?
this was done through consortium bid. Omnia Partners is the one who we purchased that equipment through.
So, was their bid being compared to other bids that had included that full amount? In other words, what I want to know is, did we award the bid based on it being lower, and now we're getting charged another $100,000 because they didn't
It was not.
put in the bid properly?
From what I know, because again, this was done through Omnia Partners, I don't know how they facilitated their bid, but they won this. The way they won that bid included the taxes, so that was fine on their end. It was just basically how we presented it to the board is the only issue. The initial piece that went to us and went to Rockford included the sales tax. So it's really just a reporting piece that was wrong.
And that was Plant Moran so it came to us correctly, it went to Rockford correctly, and then when Plant Moran presented it, it was different.
Any other questions from members of the board? Quick question, you mentioned we don't pay sales tax, is that what you said?
Yeah, we wouldn't typically pay it, I mean, if we were buying direct, we wouldn't pay sales tax.
So we have to pay sales tax if someone's buying on our behalf?
That's correct. If they're not buying on our behalf, it's the middleman, they incur the cost. That's part of their cost of doing business, they pass that along to us.
They incur the cost even though they're buying it for us, which is my opinion on our behalf. So they still have to pay the sales tax even though that we're not required to pay.
If we're not gonna, if we don't pay it through them, we're gonna pay it on the other end through a use tax.
All right.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
President Alvin?
Yes.
So I had the same concern. I questioned. I said, well, that's like bait and switch because, you know, you get the lowest bid and then afterwards you say, oh, by the way. So we challenged that initially. Then we did communicate with legal. We said what our avenues. And they say typically they get it one way or another is how the wording was. But we felt like because the board took action a certain way, that we have to present you now the difference. But I had the same concerns, and we did go to legal to seek input.
Understood. No worries. Thank you. Anything else from members of the board on this?
Yeah.
Trustee Hart.
So, Plant Moran is being paid to provide a service to us, and part of that is formulating and presenting us with bids. If when they formulated and presented us with this bid, it was incorrect, why is that our responsibility and not theirs for the surface that we're paying them for?
Plant Moran Cressa.
Plant Moran Cressa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a good question.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to need an answer to that question.
Well, we have communicated the same concern, and we'll get you an answer to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from members of the board on this question? I mean, on this item? Hearing none. Okay, we'll go to item 10, Board Administration Communications. Do we have any communication from members of the administration? From members of the board? Trustee Corcoran.
Thank you. I just wanted to elaborate on the young ladies that came forth, as well as the teacher, and also the librarian. It, to me, was all summed up together in regards to, you know, what's happening after school. And what's happening during school seems to be, you know, on point, at this time. But I just want them to know that trust and believe we have not just swept this under the rug. We have not forgotten. Myself, as a child, I experienced my friend being shot in front of me because back then, you know, they were taking sneakers or what have you, and it is trauma. I do know that we have grievance counseling in the schools for them. If they have, you know, any type of feeling or upset or anxiety, they need to seek out that help that's provided for them. In regards to the security, we are definitely working on that as we speak. Your safety, you are correct. It is definitely our responsibility to ensure that you are safe walking from home to school and back home. So I just want her to know, or them to know, that it is a very unfortunate situation that could have been prevented. And we can't you know, we can't go back and make it not happen, but we have to move forward on, you know, making sure that it doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You got more?
I do have one.
Go for it.
I don't have a lot of information. I have enough information in regards to the NASB conference for 2023. I have never had the opportunity to attend, but I've heard so many great things about it in regards to board education. I know we don't have like an account or anything with them, such as like how we pay for MASB for their assistance, but I do want to attend, and I wanted to put a motion on the floor.
Go ahead.
Based on the information that I have.
When is it?
It's April the 1st. We can, you know, wait, but I do know that the airline tickets are, you know, they are expensive.
Where is it?
It's in Orlando, Florida.
Do you, Mr. Abdul-Had, are you familiar with this?
The National Association of School Boards.
Local School Board Association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get more information so that we can get them, I mean, do you
I-
have them, you have a motion now, or you wanna wait till?
Oh, we can wait.
Okay, so
I
can
mean,
we
I
get
have,
more
can get you
information?
I have the
membership.
dates and the
Okay, I'll get you
classes and
members.
different things like that.
If we
Can I
just-
work directly
Yes,
with?
yeah,
Okay,
please,
we'll
let's
work
get
it.
some information so that we can, you know, figure that out at the next meeting. We can pass a motion if we need to. Anything else from members of the board? All right, I have a few things. I want to, thank Councilmember Julie Edgar for coming to today's meeting. As I noted earlier, it's part of a planned partnership between the school board, that's us, and the city council, in which the hope is for at least one of us to show up to one meeting a month. So like Council Member Edgar was here for this one, maybe someone from the city council will be here at one of our meetings next month. If they want to get on the agenda, we can do that. I'm going to go to the very next city council meeting to speak on a few things. I've asked Superintendent Abdul-Had to give me some speaking points, but I already have a few of my own. Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank Public Safety Director Chief Steve Cooper for the increase of police presence on or around the Oak Park High School area to ensure our children are safe. Since the incident on the 6th, there has been increased presence. This is something we have been asking for, and we appreciate him for that. I would ask that, thank you to Superintendent Abdul-Had for working directly with Chief Cooper to make sure that we're trying our best to keep our students safe as well. It's not the students, the staff and the support staff and everybody safe. I appreciate that. Curious as to where we are on the Zero Eyes thing, so where is that? I mean, you don't have to answer tonight. I'm just, maybe in your next report, or, you know, something like that, to let us know where things stand with that. I know that's something we have been working on. I know we immediately put in some things in place in the immediate aftermath on the 6th to make sure that we keep our students and staff safe, and all of our support staff as well. Particularly for games and things of that nature, including wanding and checking IDs. If they're not part of the team that we're playing and they can't come in and things of that nature. So I know we've been good at jumping on it in the aftermath. I want to also thank Superintendent Abdul-Had and the administration for all the support they have provided to the family of the young man who was assaulted and was unfortunately shot that evening. So I want to thank you and your staff for the work and support, the video that you all provided to him, the food you've taken to the family. I've talked to the mother a couple of times since then, so she's grateful for that. And I've talked to her about, hopefully we can get him back in school so because he's on track to graduate, and we want to see him graduate despite this incident. So, but thank you to you and your team for what you're doing. A couple of things. One is, this is all stuff I had on anyway, so this is just all this is coming. But we have not seen an update from Plant Moran Crest in quite a long time. I don't know when, but they're supposed to give us a monthly update on where things stand. So we're approving little pieces, and we don't know where we are in terms of the whole pie. And so I would like to see where that is and what the planning is around certain, like we don't know what the next steps are. All I know is we've been dealing with HVAC. And so where else are we going? There are other pieces to this, and so it'd be interesting to hear, where we stand relative to the whole project. And it's been quite a while, and I remember when we passed that motion, and we haven't heard anything. So not blaming you or anyone else, just want to hear what's going on and where we're at. Also would love, at least for me, curious on where we are relative to absenteeism rates of our students and our teachers, particularly in a year-over-year basis. I know that we have provided 2 steps to our educators with the hope that they would, well, at least for me, with a hope that they would be here to educate our students. So I can't talk for everybody else, I'm gonna talk for me. With the hope that they would be here to educate our students, and our students would be here to receive that education. And so, this was all stuff I had on here anyway. But I don't want to hear that we're having problems having teachers, like everyday teachers, teach. So can we figure out? Can we get some word on what we are relative to that? At least I'm asking for that. I can't speak to again for the rest of the board, but that's something I'd like to see in a future report. Okay, the last thing is, we talked about having a retreat or some other sort of meeting with the purpose of establishing goals for the superintendent and the board. So we have some dates that were thrown out. I talked to Superintendent Abdullah. So I'm gonna ask you to check your calendars while I can finish talking. Superintendent Abdullah, and I know that he would prefer that we go in April. I'm a little concerned that the longer we push this out. So I would like to, as a compromise to him, would like to see us maybe do this some point in March, if that would work. So if you would pull out your calendars, we already have meetings scheduled on the 13th and the 27th. I would love for us to connect before the 13th of that month, and so what he has provided is 6 p.m. So I've given you a few days. 6 p.m. on March 1, 7, or 9, or 1, 7, 9, 14th, or the 16th. But I'd love for us to go before the 13th if we could. And then 7 p.m. on some dates later in the month. So I'm curious as to whether the 7th is an issue for anyone to do a 6 p.m. meeting.
It'll be an issue.
It'd be an issue, okay. How about the 9th? It's a Thursday.
I'm an open book.
9th works for me.
The 9th works. The 9th works.
9th works.
You can make it work, because if that don't work.
The other thing, I know I said I would help, so I was gonna, have made some initial contact with, Michigan to get the, help get a facilitator. So
This guy
that's
would
who
be
you
the,
said-
yeah, so
oh,
he would
okay,
be the facilitator.
okay.
It was Dr. Green.
Right. Robert.
Would be the
Do we get
facilitator.
approval to approve this person? Because I know we have MASB that we've used all the time.
That's what
That's-
Yeah, I didn't hear her say
Oh,
what it was.
Yeah, Dr.
I
Green.
just heard a name, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he
You said
works-
Dr. Green?
Yes, he works.
Oh, I didn't hear
I
her
didn't
say
see
Dr.
the
Green.
name. I
He's
just
the
was
one
saying
who-
Michigan Association.
He's the one who's done our
Superintendent
superintendent evaluations and some other stuff with us the last couple of years.
Oh, he was the one that was here to do the self-evaluation, I mean, the
Yeah.
superintendent
Yeah.
evaluation?
Yeah.
Understood.
So is the 9th okay?
You did our last retreat.
Is that okay for you?
It's fine.
It's not okay.
No, I mean, I can try, you know, I work nights, so.
Okay. Is
don't
that
like the
okay
one
for you?
person, not-
I'll be coming from the dentist, so I might not be able to talk.
Are you short me? Do you want me to try for the, I mean, we got the 9th. Do you want to try for the 14th? That's a Tuesday. Is anybody able to do that?
'cause I'll be,
The 9th is better.
The 9th is better? Okay. Trustee Hardy, we good on the 9th?
I think
Good
the
for me.
ninth is,
Superintendent Abdullah.
So I'm confused. Is this for your retreat, or is this for me to attend to discuss goals? Because I heard retreat and
It's
then
both. You would need to attend to
the retreat as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
We good?
I mean,
I think I got a Pistons game.
yeah, 6 o'clock?
6. Can we make that work?
I gotta sleep. I think
we can make it work,
Isn't there a break during March then? Isn't there like?
That's why I would love to do it during spring break, because then I could turn my attention fully to reflection, but
All right, we
No,
got
I'll-
the 9th. The spring break is when?
No, there's another break. It's
in
February.
there's a winter break.
It's a winter break.
That's in February.
There's a winter break. I'm looking at the calendars right now.
It's almost always in February. Okay.
It's like winter break's
Winter break is
late,
February, is low.
late
It's the last
February.
week of February.
Okay, I don't want to get mixed up.
So does that give you time during that winter break to get some stuff done or not?
Yeah, so I would love to have it during where their school's not in session, so I could turn my attention
Can I
to
make a
that.
suggestion?
Go ahead.
If we remember back a while, we have a board meeting scheduled for that Monday, which is during winter break, or which is right after winter break. And we had talked about whether we wanted to have that meeting because, you know, that would be, the prep work would have to happen when everybody's out. What if we schedule the retreat for that last Monday in February, which is right after winter break, and instead of doing a board meeting, we do a retreat?
He does not have that date available. Dr. Green doesn't. But even so, I was trying to work with Superintendent Abdullah, had understanding that he had really asked us to push this out to April. And my hope was to not push it out that far, given that, you know, we're now 4 months into the year. We'll be basically rating him in 7 months.
We're actually more behind than that, though, but.
I get
So
it.
February's not a good time?
No, it's not. So I'm trying to, that's why I said, you know, move it into March and go to the 9th, which is a compromise, because I know he wants to go into April.
Let me just look at one thing real quick, and then I can make it work.
I can give you some other dates, but that's where we are right now.
I could make whatever March, if you guys want to make March. Let me just see.
What was that time again? You said 6 p.m.
6,
to what?
for that day, 6 o'clock.
So, before April 1, we're good. Anytime before April 1. That way everyone's in compliance. So anytime before April 1. So if you want to do March.
March 9 is okay with you?
Yeah, if it's okay with everyone else.
Compliance with what? I just want to understand, you said.
Well, I mean, because you guys said you're way behind, so when I looked at the contract, it said anytime before April 1, so you're not really behind in setting
in terms of
goals.
setting the goals. Got it.
Yeah, so you're not really behind, because I just heard we're behind, and so I just reflected on that.
Behind as far as committees is what I was speaking.
Oh, all right.
So I just want to make sure, so the idea is that at the retreat, we would set district goals, which would lead into board goals, which would lead into superintendent goals, and that's what and that would also inform committees and that kind of thing.
That would set the stage for us to form our committees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the 9th, we're all meeting, this is not a meeting, we're just doing a retreat.
Good.
We're informally discussing goals, then we'll come back and adopt those goals. Okay.
Yes.
All right, gotcha.
That
I'm
work? Okay.
March
Everybody good?
9th.
Okay. So we have that March 9th, 6 p.m. I will inform him
What? Where?
here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know in the past we've been done a little more lavish.
Are you scared of the lavish? You just want it just not relaxing?
I mean, we can relax in here.
With our renewed partnership with the city council, in the past, the city council has offered to let us use their chambers for a retreat. Maybe that would be another idea.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right, it's an option. Okay, all right. Anything else? Those were my items. I had a bunch of them. Sorry. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting.
The next meeting on the Board of Education will be held on Monday, February 13th, 2023 at 7 o'clock p.m. in the boardroom at the administration building.
Thank you. The time is 9 o'clock. Without objection, we'll adjourn the meeting by unanimous consent. Is there an objection to doing so? We're hereby adjourned at 9. Thank you.